Hey guys, this is our ecology project. I'm Lena.
I'm Sophie.
And Malachy. Our project investigates leaf damage, specifically herbivory and fungal, on various tree species within urban environments. The primary goal was to systematically collect baseline data on leaf surface area and quantify damage to compare findings across different trees. This helps us gauge the health of specific species and interactions within their ecosystems.
So our hypothesis was that larger leaf sizes lead to a lower percentage of leaf damage, and we anticipated that trees with larger leaves would on average show less proportional damage compared to those with smaller leaves. This suggests a potential resilience or lesser impact from herbivory and fungal infections relative to their overall size.
To gather our data, each of us selected two distinct tree species and collected 10 leaves from each. For every leaf, we measured its overall surface area, the area affected by herbivory, and the area with fungal damage. From these, we collected total damage and percentage of damage, noting specific herbivory types. All individual data sets were then compiled. We conducted a comprehensive group analysis, creating comparison tables and bar graphs to visualize and summarize our findings.
So for my data, I included a native flowering dogwood and a non-native Chinese elm. So for the flowering dogwood, which was my first tree, I found an average leaf area of 29 centimeters squared and moderate damage at 12.9% overall damage. While generally healthy, individual leaves showed clear signs of chewing and some fungal spots. Leaf number 7 that I studied, for instance, had 55% damage primarily from chewing. But on the other hand, the Chinese elm tree, which was my second tree, was a significant outlier. It had the smallest average leaf area at 8 centimeters squared, but it exhibited the highest average damage percentage across all of our trees in our study, which was pretty interesting, at 21.1%. Many of its small leaves had extensive chewing and some discoloration, making it quite vulnerable. It was pretty evident that it was vulnerable. This contrast immediately suggested a link between leaf size and damage.
My observations focused on two native species, the flowering dogwood and the eastern redbud. The first tree, the flowering dogwood, showed an average leaf area of 46 centimeters squared with a moderate leaf damage of 9.1%. Fungal damage was also quite prevalent with this tree, averaging 4.1 centimeters squared per leaf, confirming its known susceptibility to fungal infections. For example, leaf number 2 had a 17% damage, largely fungal. In stark contrast, the eastern redbud had the largest leaf area of any tree we studied at 108 centimeters squared. Despite the size, it had the lowest average damage percentage at just 1.9%. Many of its large leaves were entirely undamaged. This significant difference aligns with our hypothesis about larger leaves having less proportional damage.
So my data included a native Populus tremulotus or an aspen tree and a non-native Ulmus minor or an elm tree. The aspen tree was observed at the brickyard and displayed relatively large leaves averaging 63.025 centimeters squared. It was notably low average damage at 1.75%. While some chewing was present, the overall impact was minimal. My elm tree was also from the brickyard and had smaller leaves averaging 22.76 centimeters squared with a similarly low average damage of 1.24%. Despite being non-native and having smaller leaves than the aspen, its damage percentage remained low, though chewing was consistently identified as a damage type. This suggests that other factors might be at play for this specific species, perhaps a resistance to local pests.
Natalie Fisher's observation included two native species, the shimmered oak and the red maple. So for her first tree, the shimmered oak, it's a native species and it had an average leaf area of 27 centimeters squared, and it showed moderate to high average damage at 12.5%. Fungal damage was quite significant on this tree, making up a substantial portion of the total damage. This indicated its particular susceptibility. For example, one leaf showed over 50% damage from fungal infection. Her red maple tree, which was her second tree, was also native, and it had smaller leaves, averaging 17.65 centimeters squared, with a moderate average damage of 9%. Damage here was more varied, including minor chewing, scraping, and some mining. This suggested a range of insect presence. Both of Natalie's trees, with their smaller leaf sizes, show damage percentages higher than the large leaf species.
When we aggregated all the data, a clear pattern emerged. The Chinese elm, a non-native species, exhibited the highest average percent leaf damage at 21%. In stark contrast, the eastern redbud had the lowest at a mere 1.9. Other species varied, generally reinforcing our observation of an inverse relationship between the average leaf size and the percentage of leaf damage. This means larger leaves tend to have a proportionally smaller area effective damage, while smaller leaves, particularly the Chinese elm, had a higher proportion damaged. This supports our hypothesis.
So this bar chart visually summarizes the average leaf data percentages across all 8 of our tree species. The y-axis here shows the average leaf data percentage. The Chinese elm's lavender bar clearly stands out with the highest damage percentage over 20%. In contrast, eastern redbud and aspen show the shortest bars representing very low leaf damage percentages of 1.9 and 1.05 respectively. This graph distinctly highlights the variability in damage susceptibility among different tree species, with the smaller leafed Chinese elm showing the highest proportional damage.
So our graph, the leaf damage surface area as percentage of total, provides a powerful visualization of our hypothesis. So the green here represents the untouched leaf area, and the red at the end indicates the damaged area, with the percentage showing on the red segment. We clearly see that species with larger average leaf surface area, such as the eastern redbud, at 108.5 centimeters squared total, consistently exhibits a much smaller percentage of overall leaf damage at 1.9%. Similarly, the aspen right here at 63 centimeters squared shows low damage at 1%. Conversely, trees with small average leaf sizes often show disproportionately higher percentage of damage. The non-native Chinese elm down here, with the smallest average leaf size at 8 centimeters squared, has the highest damage percentage at 21%. This visualization strongly supports our hypothesis that larger leaves generally experience a lower percentage of damage.
Our findings strongly support our hypothesis. Trees with larger average leaf sizes generally exhibit a lower percentage of leaf damage. This pattern was evident with the eastern redbud and the aspen having both large leaves and minimal damage. In contrast, the Chinese elm, with its smallest leaves, suffered the highest proportional damage. Beyond leaf size, we also observed a strong correlation between species and vulnerability, specifically that non-native species like the Chinese elm were among the most vulnerable, possibly lacking co-evolved defenses against local insects. While not directly tied to leaf size, fungal damage was a significant factor for some native species, like the flowering dogwood, confirming its known susceptibility to fungi as highlighted by a 2022 study.
It's crucial to view herbivory not as solely detrimental, but as a vital ecological interaction. The damage we observed, especially in native species, directly reflects their role in food sources within the local food web. Looking ahead, climate change presents a significant challenge. A 2012 study shows projections that indicate increased insect herbivory due to rising temperatures, leading to higher insect survival and expanded ranges. This will intensify pressure on all trees, native and non-native, in urban environments. A limitation of our experimental design was our relatively small sample size per species and the single snapshot in time. For future research, we propose a revision to expand the scope to include more individuals per species across different seasons, allowing for a more robust native versus non-native comparison. This would provide a clearer picture of long-term damage dynamics and species resilience. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.